Welcome back to LA Fishguys. We've been servicing a jellyfish tank. We talked about the size and the reason for the water changes. We also managed to not suck up any of the jellies out of the tank, and we also never got stung. And I'll tell you why in just a moment. So now that we've gone and siphoned the bottom of the tank, got the debris out of the bottom of the tank, we can go ahead and clean that return compartment lid. The lid obviously seals the return compartment, but at the same time, removing the lid allows you access into the return compartment to clean it. And then get it down into place. And then we took and put those screws in our pocket to safely be held. We'll go ahead and put those back in position now. These are just nylon thumb screws that go into pre-threaded holes and help secure the lid on top of the return pocket, which basically again allows us access into the tank. Go ahead and tighten those down. The reason I never got stung by the jellyfish is moon jellyfish stinging cells are not strong enough to penetrate my skin. And now we can go ahead and clean the egg crate grid. And the grid, again, is what stops the jellies from exiting out of the tank, keeping them in and allowing the water to exit. We can go ahead and put that, secure that back into its position. There's a notch and a thumb screw. And that secures the grid in place so it doesn't come out. We can go ahead and turn the water back on. And that fills up the return pocket. And the air itself escapes out. And then the tank begins to fill up, and you should begin to see a current start moving in the tank, beginning to flush those jellies about. And you can see here as the water comes through the egg crate grid and then spills over the return compartment and then into the overflow end of the tank. And we've got a current going, which has whisked the jellies up. And there is a particular flow that we're striving for. Not only do we not want to have all the jellies stuck up at the top of the system or sitting down at the bottom, so we'll spend a little bit of time finding the right spot, but usually about 2 wrist turns open is enough for this tank. And even though 2 wrist turns doesn't mean a whole lot to you, the point is that we're trying to create a current that's gentle enough to simply lift the jellies up off the bottom, suspend them in the middle of the aquarium. And now with the system back up and running, you can see there's still a little bit of debris that we missed, or at least settled in after we were in there cleaning the bottom of the tank. And so that's a bit of a frustration on my part and something I'm going to have to learn to try to figure out how to do that better. But really what I'm trying to do is get the debris out of the tank as much as possible without affecting the jellies, because it is that debris that remains in the tank that will ultimately affect the jellies. I had commented a while back about what I referred to as the Swiss cheese effect, and that's where the jellies would end up getting a hole in the bell and would just literally begin to fall apart within a matter of days. In fact, that's why I stopped importing the jellies from Japan, because I don't think they kept their systems very clean. We brought a shipment in a while back, a very large number, and it was expensive. And within days, a number of those jellies began to develop holes in there. And from that point on, I said there's no way that I'm going to patronize those people, because the quality of the product isn't that good. Namely because I don't think they knew how to keep their stuff any better than I did at the time. So now, with my new attempt here, again, try to keep the inside of the tank as clean as possible, and part of doing that is minimizing the amount of food going in. And speaking of food,
Reef Hobbyist Magazine believes that our hobby, our fellow hobbyists, and the animals in our care are best served by the free distribution of quality information. Reef Hobbyist Magazine provides hobbyists with critical husbandry information with an emphasis on marine ornamental breeding efforts. Reef Hobbyist Magazine is available for free in local fish stores across the country, or you can subscribe at www.reefhobbyistmagazine.com.
hey there, my name's Jim Stime. I'm the LA Fish Guy. Are you interested in learning more about marine aquariums? Would you like to hang out with a bunch of other people who are also interested in learning more about marine aquariums? Well, the Greater Iowa Reef Society is hosting MACNA 2011. That's this September 9th, 10th, and 11th in Des Moines, Iowa. They've asked me, the LA Fish Guy, to give a presentation. So you know it's going to be a winner, but make sure to double check the schedule, because at the moment I'm listed as the first speaker, 10 o'clock that Friday morning, so schedule yourself appropriately. Here's how to gather more information.
When in Los Angeles, make it a point to stop in Long Beach, California at Age of Aquariums, 2642 Cherry Avenue, just off the 405 freeway near Signal Hill. At Age of Aquariums, their knowledgeable staff showcases designer aquariums featuring colorful corals and exotic fish, a spectacular 4-sided 500-gallon living coral reef, along with a wide selection of coral frags and a large selection of saltwater fish, the cute, the graceful, and the not so cute. Age of Aquariums also carries a selection of popular freshwater fish for the beginning hobbyist. Along with a full line of aquarium supplies and supplements, Age of Aquariums quarantines and medicates all their new fish and proudly provides LA and Orange County's largest aquarium maintenance service. Age of Aquarium is located at 2642 Cherry Avenue, just off the 405 freeway near Signal Hill. Open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday and 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays. For more information, dial 562-438-6252 or visit ageofaquariums.biz.
So these jellyfish are tank raised. I raised them myself. I'm very proud of my efforts. The food that I have fed to them while I was raising them was freshly hatched baby brine shrimp. And to me, that's the most nutritious, and the better deal at it is the fact that they're alive, they stay in suspension and continue to float around, as opposed to non-living foods that will eventually just settle at the bottom of the tank. Unfortunately, raising live brine shrimp is not the most convenient for everyone, and not everyone wants to get involved in it, because it is a little bit of work. It's not difficult, but it is a little bit of work. We've got a supplier, though, that has come up with a frozen food for jellyfish. Arrives in these little sticks, or sausages as we'll call them, and what you end up doing is taking and cutting maybe a 1/4 inch of the food off, or swishing it around in a glass of water and allowing it to thaw. and that becomes a small particulate that you can either with a turkey baster suck up and inject through the top of the tank or pour through the top of the tank, and that will float around and the jellies will feed upon it as well. It's a whole lot more convenient. The trick is not to overfeed the tank. If you overfeed the tank, two things are going to happen. The water is probably going to turn cloudy or hazy on you at some point, along with an abundance of debris that sits at the bottom of the tank, making it a not very impressive looking system. And two, as I said earlier, that debris is going to come back and it's going to cause a problem with the jellies. As my friend up in Monterey Bay said, it allows for various fouling agents to occur. Those fouling agents will, in some sense, attack the jellies. And as I mentioned, that Swiss cheese effect that just causes the jellies to begin to fall apart with holes as the starting point and then just literally shredding apart. So you want to be real careful about the amount of food you put into the tank as well as what type of food, because obviously it has to benefit the jellies. And so far these jellies have been here a couple of months and they seem to be doing well and growing. So as long as that continues, we'll stay with this frozen food. But if at some point we feel we need to, we may end up having to switch back to the live, freshly hatched baby brine shrimp. And so that's how we go ahead and service the jelly aquarium. It's not really that difficult. It just requires a little bit of an understanding, maybe a little bit of experience, and I've had the opportunity to play around with jellies for the last 6 years, so you would hope I would have learned something by now. Anyhow, this is one of the new features that we're offering, and even though it's a little on the expensive side, those that are interested in it, it can make for a very exciting addition, certainly unique in your home. So with that said, let's go ahead and get the outside of the tank cleaned. We'll go ahead and use an acrylic polish so that we can clean the outside of the tank.
Using a soft cloth and acrylic polish easily cleans the outside of the tank.
And there you go. That's how we service the jellyfish tank. Hope you learned something there. And if you have questions or are interested in Jelly Aquarium, please feel free to give me a call. That's jellyaquarium.com. In the meantime, I need to dash off to another service. So always keep moving forward.